The cabin door swung open in the crisp Colorado dawn. Cody Reed paused on the threshold, tasting freedom in the mountain air, but Harlan Graves blocked his path in the yard, his Smith & Wesson revolver catching the first light. "Morning, Cody Reed," Harlan drawled, as two more trackers stepped from the tree-line, rifles ready. The trap was sprung. Cody's fingers twitched near his holster, the same fingers that had traced Margaret Lawson's curves just hours before, the ones that had finally chosen to stand instead of flee. Through the window, Margaret gripped her late husband's Remington, her 52-year-old frame steady despite the gray streaking her chestnut hair. She'd sworn off love after Henry's death, convinced her days of passion were buried with him. But now, 3 lives hung in the balance: the ex-sheriff turned bounty hunter, the drifter who'd betrayed his partner, and the widow who'd risked everything for one stolen night. What cost would they pay for defying fate? Winter clamped down on Pine Ridge like a vice, the Rocky Mountains looming silent and unforgiving. Margaret Lawson chopped firewood in the dimming light, her breaths fogging the icy air. 8 years since Henry had gone, 8 years of rote routines, feeding the chickens at sunrise, patching quilts by lantern glow, whispers to a god who seemed distant. She eyed his faded photo on the shelf, then looked away. Some regrets were too raw for twilight. The Remington hung over the fireplace, cobwebs claiming its stock. Henry's gun, Henry's world, Henry's widow. Even in the grave, he defined her. The twist wasn't lost on her. A rifle rusting while threats lurked in these hills like coyotes on the prowl. Fresh boot prints in the snow snagged her attention, leading right to her door. Darkness had settled when the stranger came. Margaret heard the ragged gasps first, then the slump against her porch. She froze, gripping the fire poker. Proper widows didn't open doors after sundown. Not to unknowns, not solo. The knock echoed again, fainter. She hesitated, then unlatched it. Cody Reed tumbled in, maybe 28, with a rugged charm forged from rough trails and tougher decisions. Blood soaked his jeans, frost clung to his sandy hair, his blue eyes holding quiet thanks without begging. "Ma'am," he rasped, voice like gravel and bourbon. "Just need a spot for the night." "No trouble." Her eyes flicked to the revolver on his belt, then back. Outlaw, no doubt, but something in those blues halted her. "One night," she said firmly. "Gun stays outside. And don't feed me lies. I can spot him a mile off." He nodded, unstrapping the holster and placing it on the rail. "Folks after me, but I don't draw first on the innocent. Partial truth, but it sufficed." She guided him to the fireside chair, grabbed her mending kit and linens. The slug had skimmed his thigh, painful but mendable. "This'll sting," she warned, needle in hand. "Already does." Her touch was sure, steadier than it had been in ages. When had she last tended anyone? Felt useful? Cody clenched his jaw, silent as she sutured. Good she admired grit without drama. "You'll bunk on the couch," she finished. "My room's off limits. We don't breathe a word of this." But as she readied for bed, Margaret left her door ajar just enough to catch his breathing, to glimpse firelight on his sharp jaw as he slept, to ponder what it meant to matter again. Morning broke still after the blizzard. Margaret stirred to the thud of an axe on wood strong, even swings of a man no stranger to labor. From her window, she watched Cody in the yard, wearing Henry's old jacket, sleeves riding up on his lanky arms. His bad leg held, each chop scattering logs, and despite herself, she lingered on his broad back, the fluid power in his swing. She stepped out with coffee. He wiped his brow, grinning faintly in the chill. "Didn't want to freeload. Owe you for the patching. You owe nothing. My folks taught better." Their hands brushed on the mug. Neither flinched. "Tell me about her, your ma," Margaret prompted. Cody's features softened. Anna Reed, ranch hand's wife in a speck of a town. She'd quote Shakespeare while mending fences, turned scraps into feasts for strays at our gate. He sipped. "Lost her at 17 to pneumonia. Quick and cruel. Sorry. She'd have liked you." Said you got wise eyes. He met her gaze. She saw the heart in folks, even when they couldn't. Warmth spread in Margaret's chest. I should head to town for goods. At Edith Harper's Mercantile in Pine Ridge, rumors buzzed like flies. Edith's keen eyes tallied Margaret's picks. Extra gauze, more beans, a tin of molasses. Stocking up heavy for one. Ain't ya? Winter bites hard. Margaret evaded. From the shadows, a stranger eyed her tall, scarred, with a predator's poise. Their stares locked. He tipped his hat, but it chilled her bones. She rushed home to find Cody fixing the barn latch, sleeves rolled, arms etched with faded scars. Heard horses earlier, he said, not glancing up. Keep that Remington handy. Hunters, maybe, or my imagination. He tested the fix. Either way, I should shove off soon. Your leg's mending thanks to me. They stood close now. But lingering endangers you, Cody. I won't carry that. Her name on his tongue stirred heat. What if I'm not ready for you to leave? His eyes darkened. Maya Margaret, I'm no prize. I'll decide that. The day thickened with tension. Margaret showed him her herbal brew for wounds. Cody taught her to maintain the Remington. Talk flowed. Novels she devoured. Trails he'd wandered surface, stuff edging toward raw truths. As dusk neared, Cody pushed for shooting practice at the creek bed. Just in case, he claimed, but it was pretext for proximity, his arms around her, breath hot on her neck as he coached stance and trigger pull. The can exploded on her fourth shot. I hit it. Margaret laughed, joy bubbling free after years. You're a quick study. But his eyes were on her glowing face, not the tin. Time stretched. Margaret felt walls crack inside, like thaw after freeze. Cody's palm cupped her cheek, thumb brushing softly. Margaret, he murmured. She leaned in. I should fear you. You should. I'm not. Only scared of how you wake me up. His restraint shattered. Lips met hers soft, then fierce. She clutched his neck, fingers in his hair. He tasted of coffee and hope, everything she'd buried with Henry. They parted gasping. The gun lay in the snow. Inside, Cody growled. She nodded, slipping her wedding band into her pocket-cold metal, but her core blazed. Danger shadowed such fire, and shadows were closing in. That evening, the cabin crackled with energy. Margaret cooked with shaky hands, hyper-tuned to Cody nearby. Every brush ignited sparks. Post-supper, by the hearth, flames wove intimacy from thin air. Tell me real, she urged. Cody had the fire. Shot a man in Denver, a gambler, fleecing minors. He drew first when I called him. His jaw set. But that's not my worst. She waited. Had a buddy, Luke Mason. Decent guy, bad calls. We hit a freight train near Boulder, not for greed, but folks starving, railroad boss hoarding supplies. His voice dropped. Posse rolled up. I bolted, left Luke hanging. What happened? Hanged in public like a show. Cody faced her. Should have stood. Coward move. Margaret took his hand. You know coward now. How so? You're here, risking for me. Fire gilded her hair. You're stunning. I'm past my prime. Most stunning I've known. This kiss held no brakes. Margaret yielded, hands yanking his shirt as 8 years' ache surged. Cody's mouth mapped her neck, pulse racing wild. Sure, he breathed. Yes. He lifted her, striding to the bedroom, easing her onto the patchwork bedspread from her early widow days. Moonlight paled her skin as he undid her blouse, hands reverent on her waist dip, breasts rise. Perfect, he whispered, lips igniting trails. Margaret arched, gasping as he teased her nipple, fingers exploring lower, thighs parting. Pleasure nearly undid her. Please, she begged, drawing him close. Cody hovered, eyes locked. Hello. Hoofbeats thundered riders closing fast. Cody sprang up, dressing. Through the pain, 3 horsemen. The Mercantile, stranger leading. Badge Glentinga deputy now. His cold gaze raked the place. Hi. Margaret shoved Cody to the storm cellar under the floor. He dropped in as Harlan Graves' boots hit the steps. The knock rattled them. Margaret smoothed her robe, open steady. Evening, Mrs. Lawson. Harlan pushed in, scanning. Dual mugs, Remington now accessible. Cold for visitors. What's this? Hunting a killer. He prowled, noting details. Cody Reed, tall, sandy hair, blue eyes. Seen him? No. Harlan smiled, chilled. Lies stink like cheap cigars. Her fingers edged to the rifle. Leave. Tell where he is. Silence thickened. Below, Cody tensed. Margaret stared down a man who'd ended lives for bounties. I'm alone since Henry. Harlan plunged his knife into the jam, blade quivering near her ear. Law catches up, ma'am. He vanished into night. Margaret's knees buckled. She yanked the rug, hauled Cody outdraw, urgent. No words. Lips crashed, hands and hair, bodies fusing. 8 years void imploded. Cody unlaced her slowly, fire painting her golden. Shoulders arc, throats hollow, breasts swell. Shaking, he noted. Long time. Don't stop. He was tender yet insistent. Mouth gentle on her skin, fingers charting her wants. They tangled on the rug, fierce and soft. Need raw, wonder deep. She cried out as he entered, loneliness fracturing. After, she pillowed on his chest, his touch lazy on her back. They slept entwined till dawn. Reality dawned harsh. Cody dressed as she brewed coffee, both skirting the profound. She pocketed her ringa, quiet revolt. Gotta go, he said. Staying risks you. She packed jerky bread, heart fracturing. Henry's jacket fit him snug. Come with, he urged. Words lingered. We could head west, Oregon fresh start. Margaret glimpsed her reflection. Grays, lines, midlife, softness. Too old for that. Not for living. He cradled her face, kissed farewell flavored. If I could. I know. Door opened. Harlan in the yard, revolver on Cody. Howdy, Reed. 2 trackers flanked, guns up. Ambush set overnight, while they'd loved and dreamed. Margaret emerged, Remington ready. Let him walk. Harlan chuckled, wind sharp. Harboring a felon, ma'am? Could cuff you too. Cody's hands rose slow. She's clean. Oh, she's neck deep. Harlan eyed the jacket, her disheveled look, their aura. What's she worth? Everything. Touching. Justice time. Come quiet trial, then noose. Margaret's grip whitened. They knew Harlan's justice rigged. Cody's eyes met hers. Love, sorrow. Once a runner, now he'd stand. Noose ain't my end. Only Ann, Reed. Cody's hand dipped. Choice sealed, fight. Air froze. Margaret aimed as Cody drew blinding speed, honed from endless drills. In fair odds, he'd win. But Harlan, 20 years a lawman, fired mid-draw. Bullets slammed Cody's chest, twisting him down, guns skidding into reddening snow. No, Margaret's wail pierced. She dashed, rifle dropped, kneeling in dirt. Cody, he wheezed, blues finding hers. Didn't run. Tears streamed 8 years dry. I know, darling. His hand squeezed hers, blood slick. Stayed. I shut, grip slack. Margaret held him, avalanche of solitude returning, but laced with fierce pride. Cody Reed died as he chose. Rooted. Boots neared. Harlan loomed, guns smoking. Law says arrest you. Then do. He scanned her defiance, grief. Something cracked humanity? Odd about law, he muttered, holstering. Sometimes blocks real right. He shut Cody's eyes gently. See nothing but a lone widow here. He mounted, trackers following into the pines. Silence fell, save wind and a distant eagle screech. She buried Cody by the creek, where cans had shattered marked with his blue kerchief on a pine bough. In Pine Ridge, prying was lethal. Some tales stayed earthbound. Edith Harper probed with pies and sympathy for unspoken woes, but Margaret mastered quiet. Shifts came subtle. Remington cleaned, loaded near. She sowed wild poppies in boxes first bloomed since Henry. Monthly trips to Denver for yarns, sweets, freedoms long denied. No ring graced her finger. Spring thawed late, but thawed. Margaret porch sat, Watching streams rush, larks sing. Faded kerchief waved. Cody haunted her. Firelit caresses, her name on his lips, his stands wait. Some loves span decades, others pulse brief. Both reshape. She deemed herself done with desire. Too seasoned for fire, too grounded for whirlwind change. Cody proved otherwise. Bravery was acting through terror. Margaret Lawson lived 25 more years in that cabin. Never remarried, but never isolated. Love's spark endured, even with its kindler under Colorado dirt. What do you think? Should Margaret have turned Cody away from the start? Or was risking it all worth the heartbreak? Share your take in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stance on love, age, and second chances.